Hi and welcome to today's video. So today I want to talk about the Samsung Galaxy S10. Oops, that's my analytics. Okay, so today I want to talk about the Samsung S10 Plus, mainly the camera, and I want to talk about why it's in my opinion, the best vlogging camera. If you're a YouTuber and you make videos, and you want to make your videos with a smartphone, then the best smartphone that I could possibly recommend after trying out quite a lot of smartphones. I've tried out the iPhone 10, the iPhone 4, I've tried out the Samsung S6, LG G5, and this is my latest phone, the Samsung S10 Plus. And the main reason why I think the S10 Plus is the best camera, the best smartphone camera when it comes to making videos for YouTube is mainly because it has this wide angle lens. So there's 3 settings for different angles. First you have the zoom close up angle, which is quite close to things. I think you can do macro shots as well. And then there's standard focal length. And then there's wide angle, which is the best thing about the phone. And the reason why you want a wide angle lens when you're making YouTube videos is because if you're vlogging and you're showing people your surroundings, you're showing them places, maybe inside of your house, inside of a car, you really want a wide angle lens so you can show people more things. Look at the difference between standard focal length. See, you can't really see much, you can just see my hand. But then if I switch to wide angle, you can see so much more. You can see my hand, you can see the clock, you can see more of the table. And for this feature alone, you really need something like this. Now there's other phones coming into the market, Android phones, which also have wide angle lenses. I think LG were the first to do it. I got the LG G5 2016. And the only reason I got that was because it had a wide angle lens. And at the time, it was the only smartphone which had a wide angle lens. Back then, other phones weren't really doing wide angle lenses. It's only been recently that the major smartphone companies like Samsung and the other ones, Huawei, the big flagship companies, it's only been recently that they've started putting wide angle lenses onto their flagship phones. And I've always wondered, why didn't they just start putting wide angle lenses on their phones earlier? Didn't they think that people would like to have a wide angle lens? Smartphones started to have dual lenses, and they didn't put wide angle lenses on it. They put the standard lens, and they put this zoom lens on it. It's just so weird that they decided to go for a zoom lens instead of a wide angle lens. But nowadays, smartphones are putting lots of lenses onto the back of phones. The S10 Plus has 1, 2, 3... This is not a lens. I don't think this is a lens. I'm not sure what this is. I think it's to scan your heartbeat. Anyway, modern day smartphones are putting more than one lenses onto the back of the phones. And at the beginning, they were only putting a standard lens and a portrait lens, no wide angle lens. But nowadays, there's triple lenses on most cameras, and they're finally putting wide angle lenses onto smartphones, which is great. Took them long enough. I was saying, why didn't they do this? Why didn't they start putting wide angle lenses on their phones back in 2016 like LG were doing? But now Samsung and all the other companies are finally catching on to the gravy train, finally putting wide angle lenses onto their flagship phones, and I'm thinking to myself, bloody hell, it took them long enough. Finally, now I can make wide angle lens vlogs on my phone without having to use my LG G5, which, don't get me wrong, it's a good phone. It's a good phone, but it's a bit old. My LG G5 lasted me for over 2 years. And it was getting really slow. And it was starting to break. The fingerprint scanning button didn't work anymore. The only way I could reset the phone was by taking the battery out and plugging it back in. It was just a bit of a hassle having to do all that, and I wanted to get a new phone. I didn't really want to get the LG G6 or G7, and I was so happy to find out that Samsung finally started putting wide-angle lenses onto their flagships, because I actually prefer Samsung phones over other phones. So the other great thing about using a smartphone with a wide-angle lens for vlogging is, and this is something that you can't really do on a DSLR or a camera, you can only do this on Android phones for some reason. Even on Apple phones, Apple smartphones, when you're trying to record a video, all you get are two buttons. Look, let me show you quickly. So when you're making a video on your iPhone like this, you get the record button and stop recording. That's it. Well, you also get this other button here which takes a photo. So let's say you're filming for your video and you want to stop recording, but there's no pause button. So you have to stop recording and then wait until you want to record again. And then, yeah, that works. But the problem is you're going to end up with 100,000 different files for all of the little clips of videos that you've taken. The great thing about the Samsung S10 Plus is you don't have that problem. Watch. You press the record button, and what's this here? What's that little button? It's a pause button. Great function to have. Let me explain why. Because when you're making a vlog, you're not always going to have interesting things to say or to show. So instead of just filming all the rubbish, you want to pause. So let's say, oh, there's something interesting, my hand, and you're filming it, it goes away. What are you going to do? Well, you press the pause button, pauses recording, and then the interesting thing comes back. Oh, you just resume recording like that, and it goes away, you stop recording. And that way, you don't end up with 100 billion little short clips of videos that you have to stitch together. You've got it all in one video. So that's great. You can't do that on the iPhone 10 because for some reason Apple doesn't like recording, and they don't like the pause button when you're recording video for some reason. I don't know why, because on most Android phones there's a pause record button and it's really useful, and that is one of the main reasons why I love making videos on the S10 Plus, and it's one of the main reasons why I dislike recording on my iPhone 10. The other reason is the microphone placement. Let me show you where the microphone placement is on my iPhone 10. So there's quite a few microphones on the iPhone 10. There's one at the bottom which is used for phone calls, and there's one built in here. You can't see it, but it's inside of the speaker grill. And there's one here, you can see it. There's a very visible hole right there, and the iPhone switches which microphone you're using depending on which camera you're using. So if you're taking a phone call, obviously it's going to use the one at the bottom. If you're taking a video using the front facing camera, then it's going to use the microphone that's facing towards you, which makes sense because if you're making a video showing your face, you want it to pick up your voice. Now the problem comes when you want to make a video using the rear camera like this. So let's say I want to make a video filming the clock and I want to do some narration. Well, the microphone is on the other side of the phone, so your voice is coming from this side, but the microphone is on the other side, so the actual screen, the body of the phone is blocking the microphone. So what you're going to get is you're going to get really muffly sounding audio. So let me show you. Okay, so let's do some testing. This is a clock, blah 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 blah. So let me show you that file. It's going to sound really bad. This is a clock, blah 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 blah. So let me play it one more time. So let's do some testing. This is a clock, blah 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 blah. So let me. You see, that didn't sound very good, and that's because when it comes to the microphone placement, Apple decided to put it here so they pick up the sound that's coming from in front of you, what you're filming, but they didn't consider that maybe you want to do some talking and you want your voice to be heard. They didn't think about that, did they? Well, luckily Samsung did, and they very wisely, they placed the microphone hole here at the side. There's no microphone here, there's no microphone on the front, and the microphone placement on the side here picks up audio coming from both sides equally, perfectly well. Let me give you an example. We will do the same test. Okay, so here is a video test of the clock, blah 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 blah. Okay, so let me play that back to you, and I'll guarantee that the audio will sound crisp and clear, unlike the iPhone X audio that I just played. So let's play it. Okay, so here is a video test of the clock, blah 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 blah. You see how much clearer that sounded compared to the iPhone X? Let me play it to you side by side. So this is the iPhone X video audio check. So let's do some testing. This is a clock, blah 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 blah. And this is the Samsung S10 Plus. It's a video test of the clock, blah 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 blah. So I think it's pretty clear which sounds better. The Samsung S10 Plus sounds 100 billion times better, and that's just because of a simple placement, change in the placement of the microphone, which Apple should have also placed the microphone at the top. I don't know why they didn't. Look, Apple, just put the microphone here instead of on the back so that I can film stuff and narrate and have good audio. It's not really much, it's not a huge thing to be asking for. So when it comes to making YouTube videos, which is my job basically, I have several other channels, I will easily choose the Samsung S10 Plus for vlogging for three main reasons. The pause button during recording, not available on the iPhone. Wide angle lens, not available on the iPhone. And the simple placement of the microphone, which is just here. Now, when the iPhone 11 comes out, there will be a wide angle lens. I've seen the iPhone 11 leaked images of what it's going to look like, and there's going to be a triple lens, and I'm guessing that one of them is going to be the wide angle lens. I'm not sure if Apple are going to make the same mistake with the microphone placement. Maybe they're going to put the microphone here again, which would be very stupid of them. I really hope they change their mind and put the microphone here. And I'm guessing that they won't put a pause button, because they never do. And for that reason, I probably won't be using the iPhone 11 for making videos. Anyway, I hope this video convinced you that the Samsung S10 Plus is superior when it comes to making videos for YouTube. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what your name is, and I'll write it down in my calendar. Bye.